It's turkey time, and this holiday season I am making a turkey breast. So if you want to see that process, keep watching. If we're just meeting, I'm Denise Jordan, and I teach traditional homemaking for today's homemaker. So if you want to learn more about making and keeping a home, hit that subscribe button and double tap that little bell icon so you don't make any upcoming videos. Okay, let's talk turkey. This holiday season, I decided to make a turkey breast, and the first thing I need to do is put it into brine. Now, keep in mind, if you decide to roast a whole turkey and not just a turkey breast, you're going to brine your turkey the same way. So let's get that piece started. So we're going to need a stock pot big enough to hold our turkey. We're also going to need a brining bag. Now, if you don't have a turkey brining bag, it's okay. As long as the turkey goes down in your pot and you can weight it down and cover it with a solution, you're okay. But I like using a brining bag just because it helps with cleanup. And then we'll put 7 quarts of water in our stock pot. We'll use 1.5 cups of kosher salt, and we will put the salt in the pot, add 1 quart of water, and bring that to a high simmer so that all the salt is dissolved. And then we have some other spices that is going in there as well. Let me tell you about those. We're going to have 6 bay leaves, a bunch of fresh thyme, and you should have seen what I found in my bag of herbs. Oh my goodness. But 2 teaspoons of dried coriander, 2 tablespoons of black peppercorns, 2 teaspoons of fennel seeds, and 1 teaspoon of mustard seed. So these are some of the spices that are going to be going in there. I also like to put some fruit in my brine. I like to use apples, lemons, and oranges. I just kind of like the flavor that fruit imparts. And then I've got some sliced onion. Oh, and I forgot to mention that right here in the middle, I've got some smashed garlic, 6 smashed garlic cloves. Now, to my young homemakers, it is not hard to cook a turkey, and it is certainly not hard to put a turkey into brine. The most important thing is you just have to plan enough time. So it takes anywhere from 8 to 24 hours to brine the turkey, so you want to brine the turkey the day before and plan on roasting your turkey the next day. When you do get ready to brine your turkey, even that preparation will going to take just a little bit of time, because you're going to want to put your salt into your water and let that come to a high simmer so that the salt dissolves. And then when you put the turkey into the brine and you add your other water, the salt has already dissolved. So let's get that part started. So the first thing I'm going to do is bring the salt, the bay leaves, and the spices to a high simmer. So I'm going to add 1 quart of water to my spice mixture, turn that on, and like I said, bring that to a high simmer. And while I'm letting that simmer, I'll be washing off the turkey. Now I'm just going to rinse the turkey off, but before I do that, I'm going to make sure I remove the gravy packet that's in the internal cavity. And yes, there's usually something in those cavities. So let's check this cavity to see if there's anything in here. Nope. There's no giblets in here. All right, so now we're going to rinse it out. I'm not going to have the water running very hard because I don't want to splash too much. This is the turkey gravy mix that comes, and you can just use that to help make gravy, or you can do like I do sometimes and buy Heinz gravy and then just add a little bit of my drippings and kind of zhuzh it up a little bit. Now let's put the brine bag into the pot. This bag is huge. I'm going to put my turkey breast down inside. And if you were doing a whole turkey, you would do the same thing. Just put it right down inside. And then we just add our onions, our apples and oranges, the spice mixture has come to a high simmer. Now I'm just going to give it a stir just to make sure all the salt has dissolved. Looks like it has, so I'm going to turn that off. Now I'm going to take this off the heat. That's off. Now there's 1 quart of water in here. I'm going to add another quart just to kind of help to cool it down. I need 7 quarts altogether for my brine solution. So now I've got 2 quarts in here, and I'll add 5 quarts to my pot. But this just kind of helps me to cool this off just a little bit quicker. So once this cools down a little bit more to room temperature, I'll put it in the pot with the turkey, and then I'll add the other 5 quarts of water. So hang on. Now I'm going to add my 5 cups of water to my pot. And I'm adding my cool water first so that when I add my brining solution, it'll be going into cool water and not that warm brine on the turkey to create any kind of bacterial growth. Now I'm going to pour in my brining solution. And I'm going to add a cup of apple juice. So now all of my herbs and fruits and juices and spices are in here. Now let's close up the bag. Now if your turkey is floating up above the water, if it won't submerge, you can put a plate on top of it to press it down. But this is submerged nicely, so I don't have to worry about that. I'm just going to have the hubby get me a zip tie so that I can snug that up and have him take it and put it in the fridge for me. So I'll let that sit in the fridge overnight. In the meantime, I'm going to get my sink cleaned up, and I always use the Clorox cleanup for my kitchen sink when I've been cooking poultry. So for this holiday season, I am making an orange and sage turkey. I made an orange sage chicken not too long ago, and it was amazing. So I thought I would kind of zhuzh up that recipe and do an orange sage turkey, and we'll see how my family likes it. So I've already picked some fresh sage, and I need about 4 or 5 sage leaves just to kind of garnish the pan with and kind of lay around. So I'm going to set these aside over here. And then I need a tablespoon of chopped sage. So let me go ahead and get that done. So I'll get these leaves sliced up and then I'll get them chopped up. And I must say, it is so nice being able to just go out to my herb garden and just pick some fresh sage. I also need 2 oranges thinly sliced. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done and just set the oranges in the fridge so they can just be chilling while I'm getting the rest of the turkey ready. I'll tell you something funny. I got ready to go to the fridge to get my oranges. I had checked last night just to make sure I had everything I needed. And when I went to the fridge today, the oranges were gone. So my husband packed a lunch before he left today for him and his buddy. So he must have took my 2 oranges. So I had to run out to the store real quick and buy a bag of navel oranges. I only need about 1 tablespoon of orange zest and the 2 oranges. But I tell you what, it was just such a shock to find those oranges gone. I like to get as much done before I start actually handling the turkey as I can. So I'm going to pop these in the fridge. And then I'm just going to give this orange zest a quick chop. Just a rough chop. I'll get it in the dish. This is a pretty simple recipe too. I'm just going to make a little bit of herb butter. I'm going to add my orange zest. Oh, about a teaspoon of cracked black pepper. All of my sage. And about a teaspoon of salt. I'm going to just mix this herb seasoning together. And then I'm going to rub this under the skin of the turkey as much as I can. And I used about a half of stick of butter. So now I'm going to set this aside. It's heavy. So now I'm going to pour off the brine. I'm going to rinse the turkey, pat it dry. And now why did we brine the turkey? Just as a reminder, the brine helps to make the turkey much more moist, more succulent. So you never end up with a dry turkey. So and you're rinsing all the salt solution off of the turkey. And you can't save these onions and fruit and any of that stuff. You have to pitch it off. But all the different flavors impart some goodness into the turkey. Okay. going to take half my butter and just kind of put it in another dish. Set that aside. Now I'm going to get under the skin of this turkey and just rub this mixture all around. Just going to loosen it up, the skin up, and just rub this all underneath the skin, inside. Get some all underneath there as much as possible so that it can just really flavor this turkey breast. I like to prepare my roasting pan by making a little bed for the turkey or the turkey breast to rest on. I do that by layering the bottom of the pan with onions and celery, and it just really makes for a really nice broth. And I'll add 2 cups of water to the bottom of the pan. That just gives me a little bit more broth and just kind of helps to bathe the turkey. Now I'll set the turkey breast in the pan like so. Then I'm going to just pour a little olive oil on the top of the turkey breast just to help with the cooking. Now I'm going to just put the sage leaves around the turkey. Just drop those in. Okay, let's get these oranges in. So I'm going to put them in the bottom of the pan as well. But I'm also going to tuck some up inside the breast cavity. I always like just a little bit of a honey glaze on my turkeys, so I'm going to just squirt just a teeny bit of honey on there because that honey and orange together should be delicious. Now let's get the lid on and get this in the oven. So I'm going to let this roast in the oven for about an hour and a half, maybe 2, since it's just the breast and not the thigh and the drumstick and the whole 9 yards. It shouldn't take quite as long. What I will do from time to time though is take some of the juices that are swimming at the bottom of the roasting pan and just kind of baste the turkey with those. But with all of those onions and carrots and celery that I've got at the bottom of the pan, plus the herb butter that we use to season the turkey, I should have some pretty good drippings to make dressing and gravy. So I'll come back. It's smelling pretty good. I can smell this turkey all over the house. It just smells amazing, and it's looking pretty good too. Look at that. Looks like it's about done. I want to put some of this sage and orange butter that was left over on top. I'm getting a nice little browning on the top of the turkey because, of course, I added a little honey. I think about another 30 minutes for the sage and orange butter just to kind of sink in, and it'll be ready to come out. In the meantime, we should probably make some gravy. We'll get a little bit of the drippings from the bottom of the pan so that we can use for our gravy. Okay, about another 30 minutes and it should be done. Now, when you get a whole turkey or a whole turkey breast, you will usually get a gravy packet that will come inside that. And all you do is just pour that into a little saucepan. Now I'm going to whisk this over medium heat, stirring constantly. And I've also got some turkey drippings, about 3/4 cup, that I'm going to add in here, just to add a little bit of my own flavor. And yes, we can make our own gravy. We could get out the flour, the salt, and the pepper, and the whole 9 yards and do all that. But the Butterball Company was very nice in providing a turkey gravy packet for you. The turkey gravy is pretty much already done. All you need to do is use it up, and people will think it's homemade. And it is. It's semi-homemade. And if I've added too much of my pan drippings and it doesn't thicken up the way I want, I can add just a little bit of flour, a little cornstarch to thicken it up, and it'll be fine. Or you can add a little mashed potato flakes. Ooh, that would thicken it up nicely too. And you whisk it continuously just so it doesn't stick to the bottom of the pan. So I put just a little bit of flour in this dish, and I added some of the gravy to it just to make a paste, and I'm going to add this to my gravy mixture. I'm going to just add a little bit of that thickened mixture that I made. Now it's thickened up nicely. See that? I'm going to turn the heat off, and our gravy is done. Let's get our turkey out. This turkey breast looks amazing, and it smells amazing as well. So I'm going to get it out of this roasting pan, and I'm going to put it on a dish and let it sit for about 30 minutes before we can do any carving of it. But it looks and smells amazing. I can't wait to have it with some dressing and some cranberry sauce on the side, and of course a little bit of gravy. Let's sneak a little bite. I know you're supposed to let it rest before you carve into it, so I'm just going to sneak one little bite. Nice and moist. It's delicious. So I inserted a meat thermometer into the turkey, and it registers at above 165 degrees internal temperature, not touching a bone. So that lets me know the turkey is done. You want to make sure you do that. So now I'm going to get it out of here and get it on a plate so we can get it ready to serve. And don't let me forget to remind you that you want to make sure that you've got a meat thermometer so that you can check your turkey or whatever other meat you may be cooking and make sure it is at the appropriate temperature. I'll put a link in the description box in case you need to find one. This turkey breast turned out absolutely amazing. It looks so beautiful. And as I already know, it tastes delicious. I can't wait to serve it. My family is going to love it. And it was so easy. The orange and the sage made such a nice combination. I am just so glad that I tried this particular version. So now let me ask you this. Are you making a turkey breast for your holiday meal? If so, try this version. If you're making a whole turkey, this will work just as well. And I do have a video on how to roast a turkey. I will link it above with an iCard and in the description box below. And as you look towards planning your holiday meals, be sure to check out my Entertaining 101 playlist. I've got recipes in there for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, for whatever it is that you might want to plan for. How to make my famous mac and cheese, how to make my cornbread dressing, how to make candied sweet potatoes on top of the stove and baked in the oven, and so many more dishes that you will just love to have on your holiday table. I will link that above with an iCard and put it in the description box below as well. And just so you know, I've raised 3 children and I have managed a home for more than 45 years. So if you want to learn more about making and keeping a home, subscribe. I can teach you to be a traditional homemaker in an untraditional world. In the meantime, this is Denise Jordan saying, you are not done yet. Click on the link in the comment section below and check out my holiday entertaining playlist. And I'll see you next time. I came out to cut some fresh thyme. You've got to see what I discovered. Look at that. A frog. And it's not fake, it's a real frog. Look at his little eyes. Oh my goodness. I'll just cut some from this side of the garden. Now what I don't know is if having that frog in here is bad for these herbs. I can't imagine why and how he was able to get up into this galvanized bucket. I don't know.